Okay, so now that we know what prototyping is, we're gonna list off some advantages of it. So starting off, because we're prototyping, we have to utilize other elicitation techniques. This is because we're making a product actually for people to look at. And so to make this product, we need to think about how we're going to do this. And that's often accompanied with interviews of stakeholders or joint application development. And it's also a positive of using prototyping is useful for human-computer GUI interfaces. This is because you can more easily see the interactions and what needs to be done when people are using it. And so when you're prototyping, you can fix it easier, and you just keep putting more and things out. So the other thing that's useful for prototyping is better for ground up startup from applications. This is because more advantages of it is it allows the stakeholders to be more involved in requirement engineering because they're actively seeing a prototype. They can see if the product is meeting the demands or requirements, and then give you more feedback on what needs to be changed or if they like it or not. The biggest advantage of prototyping is it provides very detailed feedback and information. This is because consumers and stakeholders are actively looking at the product, and they can tell you exactly what's wrong or how it fails to meet their expectations. And it's also really good for finding errors and bugs. It also provides the user, which is the consumer, an active role in developing because they are looking at the prototype and they can tell you what they like and don't like about it. So some negatives about it is it's really expensive to make this because you're making countless different prototypes and each one just takes more and more money to make. And so if you want to save money, prototyping is not your best choice. The other thing is it's also very time consuming. You put in a lot of time into making this first prototype, and if the prototype doesn't work very well, you need to make another prototype. That's just more and more time consuming. So it's time consuming and very expensive. The third one is not so much, but it's still there. When the user has the prototype, they have an expectation of what the prototype is going to be like and how it works. And if you end up changing something, then the user can kind of get frustrated because they think it's going to work this way, but now it doesn't work that way. And we have an example for you. So this is the example of the rotary phone. So on the right, you have the typical rotary phone of the olden days. You put your finger in, you spin to the number, and let it spin all the way back. But the first prototype was actually the one on the left, and it was just like a push button thing. And so you can think about as being a user, this is the first time a phone's really coming out. So you think you get used to the one on the left, and you start pushing the buttons, and that's how it works. But then it's very intuitive actually, so it makes sense. You just push the buttons. But on the right is not so much. If you look at it, you got to put your finger in and spin it. And we know how this works because we've seen it for a long time now. But imagine being a user going from a push button thing where you just push the buttons and it types a number, and it's super simple. And then you go to this weird concept of having to put your finger in and spin it. And so obviously, I personally would not want to do that. And so I would try resisting the change, and I get frustrated as being a prototype user.